hard to really relive the final moments of that game. Of course, you don't get much sleep when you get it down to the 1 yard line and can't find a way to get it in. We did have some superlatives from the game. Hassan Howell did a great job running the football, gave us the ability to run not only our inside zone but our outside zone. I thought he made some good runs that were supposed to be negative yards. He got us 4 yards on that on the offensive side of the ball. We also had some good jobs by some of our receivers in the blocking game. Probably the most critical place in the game that we fell behind, I think, is we thought that we had some good matchups on the interior in our receiving core on the interior with some of the people that they had out there. Losing Quay was a major, major blow for us, especially in the red zone. Our red zone package had been really kind of put together for our most reliable player, which has been Quay the whole time, and unfortunately, he went down. I think on the outside, on the perimeter, we wanted to get the ball in our playmakers' hands, and we tried to. I think their defensive secondary, especially their corners, played it at a really, really high level. As I went back and looked at it on tape, they went after the football. They covered us down the field. The plays that we've made, we didn't make but one of those down the field that we see guys make all the time, and that was to Trayvon Brown. We've got to continue to mesh our passing and running game. If you'd have told me that we were going to run it that well, we've been working really hard to run the ball. I thought that we would have been able to, to play at a much higher level, connecting it to our passing game of the past. On defense, once again, our defense, I thought, gave us a chance to win this football game. There are 3 turnovers that they caused. We got 3 points off of it. Offensively, you just can't have that happen. Corin Wiggins, Aaron Ramsey, and Tank Robinson all had great games for us in different times throughout the game. Once again, in the second half, our defense was stingy, like they were against the last home game we had against BYU. And when you play that well, or just holding them against points in the second half, you should have a chance to win. It's great to see our offense go out and do something that we do all the time, execute a 2-minute drill. But at the end of the day, this team was 1 yard short, and that 1 yard is something that we'll all think about. And we have a lot of ground to gain, but right now we're getting better. We're definitely getting better on offense and defense in some different areas. We haven't put it all together. This was the perfect opportunity for us to get a November-style win where we ran the ball well and didn't make just enough plays. Moving on to Cincinnati. Cincinnati, good football team. Coach Fickell is really playing a lot of new people. It just really shocked me how many new people they were playing. They're returning 2 starters on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of new faces, some great talent at corner. Also, some of the guys that they are returning have played for a long time and can play at a high level. Really like their defensive front, causes a lot of problems for a lot of people, play a lot of people in their front, have 2 units that they can run in at you. I think they do a good job. Offensively, really impressed with the running backs that they have. Not only Dokes, number 23, but also number 5, Boone. They've done a good job of getting the ball downhill. Dokes is kind of giving them a different change-up than I've seen them have in the past. A guy from Indianapolis that shows up in Cincinnati, of course, and just is playing at a really, really high level. Also at the receiver position, both Gray and Lewis gives them some ability to go down the field and run some great routes. Lewis being from Miami, which is known for a speed type of a city coming out of. So they've made some plays on offense and defense, have been in some tough games. Won a tough game last week against a good Tulane team. So we've got our work cut out for us, but we're getting better. We're motivated to play, really excited to get a chance to go out and want to see our fans come back in and support our seniors on senior night. A lot of families will be coming in. It's going to be sad for me to see some of these guys, move along. And then it's also sad to see some of our guys that have played so hard and played so well to be injured. So I'm asking and requesting that our fans come out in large numbers to support these seniors who've done such a good job in trying to transition and do the things that we've asked them to do and becoming leaders and great discipline. I thought it was one of the parts of the game that was also a positive for us. You know how hard we work on our penalty discipline. I think we ended up coming out of that game with 2 penalties for 20 yards. You get 2 penalties for 20 yards, 3 turnovers. You wonder how you lose the game. Well, it comes down to, like we said before, a game of inches. we'll be ready to go this week. Really excited to give our guys a chance to go out and play. Had some young guys come in and compete in this game. We just got to continue to get better.
Coach Quay kind of put out on Twitter that he's probably out. Does it look like he's done for the last 2 games?
Yes, there's no way that we'll see him. Right now, I'm more concerned with him. I think that Quay can continue to play football. I'm more concerned with him being able to get in training form and to have a chance to continue to play. But unfortunately, the guy for us, I just bragged about him a couple of weeks ago. He never misses practice, never misses games. And because of that, we really felt like he was going to have an end to a great season. We did a lot of things you could tell in the game to try to get him involved in the game plan with some matchups. And once we lost him, we had other people to go in his spot and make some plays in that game plan. But there was some critical inside of the 10-yard plays that we practiced and had got game ready, even a couple of little tricks that we had for him in the game that when he went down, it hurt us. But it does not look like we'll have him the rest of the year, and I'm hopeful that he'll be able to get back and start training, in the early part of spring.
I guess with him out, that means that DeAndre Ferrier has to begin to continue to step up a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to need him to step up even more than he did last week. He made some plays for us. There was also some. We also had some critical errors at that position when Quay wasn't in. One was down near the goal line, going into overtime. So we've got to, the things that you forget about Quay. A lot of people, you don't talk about him as much, but he's so reliable that the small things they automatically get done. And we missed a few small things in the overtime, and then also in the third quarter we missed some small. We had some small errors that cost us dearly.
You said you wanted to watch the tape before making lasting evaluations on Gardner Minshew. He's the starter this week. What did he show you after watching the tape?
I thought he played well. There was a stretch in the game where he got a little flustered. The pocket got pushed back on him. He made a throw, down the right boundary, I believe, where he just threw it up. And we had to calm him down a little bit and just let him know to go out and execute. But once I went back and looked at the tape, outside of one or two, drives and maybe, incorrect reads in the passing game, which he had a couple, he put the ball in the hands of our receivers. And our receivers a couple of times just didn't make the plays that we're used to seeing them make. I thought we had more one-on-one opportunities in this game that were great opportunities where it was protected. Gardner got the ball out that he wanted to get out. We didn't want to overthrow anybody in a cold weather game. I wanted all those catches to be, bodied catches or back shoulder catches or being able to, our big targets that can go up and jump over the top of guys. We didn't make but one or two of those the whole game. But I thought all in all, he deserves to be the starter. We're going to go forward with him. He did some really good things in the game. He threw some great balls. We missed a couple down in the red zone, of course. It got really tight down there and restricted what we could do. But he played well enough for us to win the football game. In no way or form did he played at a level that would have cost us to lose the game. So we feel comfortable with him moving forward.
What did you see on the tape on the last play on the fourth goal line?
Yeah, so we had a couple of options to that play. There's a sweep that's connected to the play, and they were in man-to-man coverage and running across. To be truthful, we just didn't get the backside cutoff, and that's something that we've worked a million times. It's the play that we want in that situation because of all the options that it gives you. And I thought the quarterback did exactly what he was supposed to do there. We just got to get the backside cut off. And, I would have liked to have seen Darius's path a little bit wider than more of a dive path. But he's done a good job, did a good job for us early in the game in a little bit of a different situation and getting the ball in. Felt very comfortable with getting it in. Had thrown it earlier in the series. And just really wanted to make a statement. And our guys, when we talked about it, that's what collectively what we wanted to do, but our team collectively wanted to do it too. So to fail in that situation and not be able to get it in, it's tough for us.
How do you think Kennedy responded to starting on Saturday?
He had some great plays throughout the game. We got to get him a little bit more consistent in his eyes. But what he does, he has a lot of speed. So a lot of the plays that had taken off on us a lot of times, he can go catch them. We haven't had him because of injuries and illnesses for the most part of the year. We haven't had him probably but about 2 games, 3 games this whole year for one reason or another. And his speed on the field gives us a chance to play a little closer to people. You also didn't see a lot of those balls thrown down the field that you used to see. They looked to try to get him a couple of times, and they liked the matchup early, but after they could see how well he ran, they went away from him. And then their secondary plan was to try to get into the interior because they felt like on the edge we were doing better at corner. We held them to 100+ so yards of passing, so that wasn't our problem. He responded well. We gotta clean him up in his eyes and his footwork. But he's physical. He's very talented guy. He's in the first year, the kids, the first year that we got here, he was a group that came in. We wanted to put a little stress on him and let him play, and he responded in a positive way.
Coach, it's been a frustrating season, a very difficult loss this past weekend. Do you think it'll be hard to rally the team to get motivated to play this weekend?
No, not at all. People asked me that question last week, and I explained it to our team a couple of weeks ago when we fell out of the ability to go to a bowl. I told them, we're football players and football coaches. Just like, sharks, when they don't eat the day before, they still wake up the next morning and go out and hunt and kill and be scary and eat. So what we have to do every single day is to come out and work. They're motivated. The biggest thing motivating them now, though, is it's senior week. They've done a lot with these guys. Been here a long time with them. We have a lot of young guys playing. We have a lot of older players that are either injured or not playing, but they want to go out and perform well for the seniors.
Coach, what happened in that situation where Sirk ran in, he called the timeout, I think it was on 4th and 1, and Minshew ended up coming back in?
Yeah, I just didn't. I was trying to get the correct call in. I didn't like the call I had in, and I didn't necessarily like the personnel that was going in for the call. There was a couple of calls that we wanted, and we found out one of those calls had everything to do with Quay. But when you're on your call sheet, you call it, and then you realize you don't have Quay, and then you want it back. And I wasn't comfortable with the call that we had, and I wanted to give us a chance to be aggressive there, and also wanted a little bit of time to think about whether we kick it or not.
Are replay reviews taking too long? I think your line was, did you guys get that from Mars or Jupiter when you talked to the official? Remember? I'm saying, I got close so I could hear what you were saying.
Okay.
I'm not going to quote you. I don't get you any.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think there was something like that.
I just thought the rhythm, the speed of play right there, we had a good little rhythm going. And when they shut the speed of the play down, it caused us a little bit of trouble. And I just asked him, where did it come from? Was it coming from where were we looking at the play from? Were we looking at it from a different location? And why was it taking so long to get to the field? And just wanted to make sure it was,
But sometimes it seems it takes forever. And everybody in the stands can see on the big screen which way it goes.
Yeah, I'm not in the booth, but I just think it took a long time for it to get down.
Coach, Jimmy had that big catch to set up the tying touchdown, but was largely absent for good stretches of the game. Is he still working through that injury?
He can barely run. He can barely move. Making that catch in that situation, if we win the ball game, I would have said that was the biggest play of the year, by far. He literally went out there and played when he could barely warm up, barely move through warm-ups. Imagine him trying to go to the ground. He slipped on the play. I don't know if you noticed it. As he was trying to put his foot in the ground, he was so weak there that he couldn't stay up, hopped back up off the ground, caught the ball below his eyes, and converted a big-time 4th down. So, he's really working through it. It's been really hard for him. Every day in practice that he comes out there, he tries to start. Usually he doesn't finish, but he can do a lot of the RVAs, route versus air. Blocking in practice is tough for him because of all the contact. So, yeah, he's working through that injury still.
What can you tell us about Keontae Anderson? He was listed as out on Monday, and then something changed during the week. He got banged up at the end. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Monday he was out. Tuesday he was kind of out from what I heard, and then all of a sudden Wednesday he shows up in practice like he came out of the booth, with a cape on and played the whole practice. So kudos to Jake and those guys getting him ready, and then went out and played 60 snaps in the game. Wouldn't let us take him out in a lot of situations, was furious that he had to come out at all. And just the warrior was talking about how he had to play in these last few games, and that's what he did. I have no idea how he was able to play or practice this week. We were told that potentially we could get him back for this week, potentially, at the beginning of last week. So on Sunday and Monday, we thought, well, maybe we'll get him back for Cincinnati. And then Wednesday, we kind of find out that we're going to get him back for Tulane.
What are you learning from some of these situations in tight quarters in inside the 5-yard line offensively from some of the things that have happened and how you might approach it?
Weapons. We've got to use our weapons. We've also got to continue to recruit guys like Davon and Quay and Jimmy and have a lot of guys like Quay healthy and ready to go. We've got to recruit. We've got to continue to recruit weapons. Once you get down into the red zone, you can look at it in the NFL and everywhere else. It's going to a certain back or it's going to a certain wideout, and we just got to continue to develop and recruit weapons.
Was the weather a factor at all for you guys on Saturday night with the cold?
It was a little chilly for me. I put on a coat. The guys were out there sleeveless. They thought it was great in the beginning. It got a little cool toward the end, and that's always something. It's usually more of a problem for the quarterback and being able to grip the ball and spin the ball. But for everybody else, it was great. Our offensive line, they love it, and our backs tend to really, really like that type of weather to run the ball in. But the quarterback usually it's a little bit harder to grip and spin, especially when, we haven't had weather anywhere remotely like that. I thought that was a really cold day. I never change clothes. I always wear the same thing. But when I went into halftime, I put on a jacket because I felt it was a little cool out there. But I don't think that had a big effect on the outcome of the game. The outcome of the game came down to execution on a few plays and some really, really critical plays inside of the 5 in overtime. Thank you.